Feinberg over Dr. Pepper's, Feinberg over vape pen hits, and then you can use code Mayo at Underdog and throw the Herbert free pick on there. You got a 6-1 on your hands.
You're entering the Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog, the Super Wild Card Weekend. Best bets, gold, silver, bronze, and you know what? It's not just the sides anymore. We have totals. We have props. If people want to, and Cam, the best thing for you, the Panthers are back on the board for you.
Hey, the Pantheros, yeah, TGL. Like as I was thinking, Pat, we should do all these other teams that are playing golf and put them in the TGL. I'm happy with it. I love it. Pizzola and you play more props than me, but you know what? I have a lot of fun with props. Watch out for the quarterbacks this week. The season's on the line. A lot of them are just going to bust off and take off. So some of those regular season numbers, you're going to see guys scamper a little bit more. So we'll see, Pat. Hope everything's going well. I got like 150 golf bets for the Sony and the TGL was awesome. If every tournament was that easy, man, it was great. That was so fun.
Yeah, week one of TGL, Rob, was a print fest. It went exactly how I thought it was going to go, and that never happens. I don't think that's a good omen.
I actually tailed your bet on that one as well. I will say, like, my only criticism was that it was such a runaway that I kind of got a little bit disinterested later when they got to the singles. But aside from that, I thought the entire thing was great. The production was great. I even watched the halftime show, the intermission with Scott Van Pelt that was going on. Like, it was
settle down, Pizzola.
I'm like, when was the last time I watched an intermission report or a halftime show or something like that? So it's been a real long time. I love the event. Honestly, it's a great idea. And the format is pretty cool, so I found that thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm curious if it's like still a thing in 4 weeks where we're like, hey, that's pretty cool, or if it's just the same thing over and over. I could see a monotony setting in that every week might be a bit much. And as I told you, Cam, I think it was a bit long, but I wanted to hit back on with Rob what you just said about the quarterbacks, because it's the first thing that I always think about when it comes to playoff football, Rob, is that quarterback rushing overs are way more in play, and it doesn't seem like they get completely adjusted until like the second or third round.
So that's exactly what I was going to say, and it's a good point. So I've played some rush yards over for quarterbacks this week as well, but it's always relative to what the price is, right? So I think somebody who wants to take an angle like that, one of the best things would be go back to regular season numbers and see how these guys are priced this week relative to how they've been priced for most of the regular season. Because if they're adjusted up a lot, then it's already accounted for in the market. If they're not, then I think it's a viable angle. It's the same stuff with like the week 17 incentives, right? Everybody's always, or week 18. It's always like, play this guy, he has an incentive. Play this. Well, he's 30 yards higher than he's been in every other week. It's already accounted for in the number. So I do think you guys are right, especially a couple quarterbacks out there this week where I don't think that their rushing yardage numbers have been adjusted up enough.
Well, one of them I was looking at off the hop was CJ Stroud. He's 13.5, and like he's pretty hit or miss on that anyway. He's either way under it or way over it. It just feels like, he's down the receivers anyway. He has the terrible offensive line. The Chargers are going to bring the heat. I could see him running.
Oh, I mean, these are high leverage games. You can see every quarterback running at this point, right? When the stakes are higher, that's why historically, even primetime football games, Sunday night football, Monday night football, you tend to see quarterbacks with higher rushing by the end of the game. And it's because the games are, even though they're all just playing for one win in the regular season, it seems more meaningful. It seems like they're going to put their bodies on the line, and this is one and done here in the NFL playoffs. So you do get those guys that maybe who would play it a little bit safer in the regular season, who now have nothing to play safe for anymore. You're going home if you lose. So I agree there. I think Stroud is a little bit low.
Yeah, the other one I was going to say as well, Cam, is that Josh Allen's at 41.5, and you can get Bo Nix at 20. You can get Bo Nix at 23.5.
One run.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to do, Pat, and I would even suggest this. Like, I don't know if Sam Darnold's like 3.5. Like even I would play every quarterback over, and it's kind of one of those things where I think you just win money. That's one of those things. Like, except for Lamar Jackson's is probably pretty high. What is Darnold?
11.5. I see.
Yeah. You know what though? The guy's like, he's going to be run, like he's so bad. He's going to be running for his life. And the beautiful thing about NFL, and we talked about this on our other shows, is college quarterbacks, like we have these semifinals. When a college quarterback gets sacked, it's negative yards. In the NFL, that doesn't exist.
Right.
The only thing you have to worry about, as you guys know, is the end of the game, the Mahomes -5 kneel instead of a regular fucking kneel that's 1 yard. The guy's running backwards 5 fucking yards. It's like, settle down, dude. Just take a knee. We got over props here. But yeah, I'd take every quarterback, Pat, and I think you'll make more money than you'll lose.
Well, let's talk a few futures before we get into the actual best bets. Is there anything you guys are looking at to hit now before
Chargers?
Really, like not going to do anything, or like Chargers?
No,
plus
like Chargers.
Chargers
yes.
-110 to break Jeff's heart.
No, Chargers. I already have futures on them, but here's the thing: if they beat Houston, I think they match up really well against Kansas City. I'm looking for a dark horse in the AFC. I don't see one other than the Chargers.
See, I don't think that there is a dark horse in the AFC. I think if you're going to look for a dark horse, Rob, you have to look at the NFC and you look at the Bucs.
I 100% agree with you. I think the Bucs are like the best long shot bet because they're favored in the first. I mean, really, the time to bet the Bucs honestly was last week before this is all settled, because now they've ended up in this spot where they're a 3-point favorite, and it's kind of factored into their futures a little bit going forwards. But I really like the idea of betting the Bucs because the NFC in the AFC. I'm going to be pretty surprised if it's not Chiefs, Bills, or Ravens in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it seems like it's headed towards one of those three teams. In the NFC, it seems much more wide open where anyone can really make it. And Tampa Bay, to me, has the offense that they can overcome defensive liabilities just by scoring. They've went into Detroit and beat them earlier this year. That's not to say that they deserve that game. They got badly outplayed, but they won that game on the road. They can win those types of road games. So to me, it's the Bucs as the sleeper as well. I don't have a team in the AFC that I would take futures on.
I'm just trying to make the point of everything the Chargers. I look at them, special teams, ticker the kicker, everything, and a coach that wants to grind out games. Yes. Baltimore is like I'm not making the point that they're like a top 3 team, but the Bills still have some defensive deficiencies. They've gagged before. Bass could miss an extra kick and stuff like that. I'm just looking at the Chargers as a team for the number that has the potential. I don't want Houston, and they play Kansas City tough. Like, they should have beat them this year. That's all I'm saying. And they're well coached. And Harbaugh knows if we have to play this team, just keep the quarterback off the field, grind them out, and try to beat them down in a real boring game. I think there's a lot of things to like about the Chargers, but I get it. Like, those other teams are better than them. But, hey, it's sports. Shit happens.
Yeah. What really scares me about that is I saw Jeff on Monday, and he was talking already about how they want the Chiefs. He wants the Chiefs.
No, Jeff should know by now. There's no like that. That's the thing. Like,
I agree with him. Like if you're the Chargers and you take a look at the 3 potential matchups that you could have somewhere along the line. I mean, they're going to play the Chiefs so they win in the first round, presumably, unless there's some sort of gigantic upset, which I don't think that any of us are going to predict, at least on this show. So let's say it goes to chalk, all the favorites win in the AFC. If you are the Chargers and you had your choice and like you had to pick for whatever reason, there's a new rule, it's been invented, the Chargers get to pick their second round opponent. And it's the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens. If I'm the Chargers, I'd look at the Chiefs and be like, that's the one team we actually match up with. The other teams are just simply going to outscore us.
That's the last team I would pick if I was the Chargers.
Really?
I would not want to go to face Mahomes at Arrowhead. I mean, is it just a quarterback?
I'm with Pat on this one. No, because Rob, they always back in the Staley days they played Kansas City tough, man. It's something about the Chargers.
They always lose.
They know each other.
Yeah,
barely.
But what does it matter? You're playing the guy who knows how to actually win in the playoffs. Why would you want to take that? Like, I mean, listen, to each, there's not much separating these teams, first and foremost. So like, you can make an argument for any of them. But to me, I would not want to play the guy that constantly wins close games in the playoffs every single year. I'd much rather play, no disrespect to Lamar, but the guy's gagged a million times in the playoffs before. Much rather do that. Same with Buffalo. No offense to Buffalo. I hope that they eventually win a Super Bowl with Josh Allen. I think that like if they don't, it's kind of miserable for that city. But they just find ways to lose as well. So why am I going to go on the road against the team that always finds a way to win? I would take the Chiefs last, personally. You guys can cut this, post it to Twitter, by the way, when the Chargers beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'd like that, because you know what? I'd be tickled pink if they won, and we will post it to Twitter. Go Chargers. I'm with Jeff.
Tag Bills Nation as well
Look,
in that,
look,
and the Ravens Nation. Yeah.
Look, I think the Chiefs still beat the Chargers. Don't get me wrong. I just think that we've already seen them play close games this year, Kansas City, and maybe since Brown has come back, they're getting guys healthier. They've had 2 weeks to rest now. Maybe their offense simply just looks different when we see them again, and they open it up a little bit more now that guys are back at full health. But I'm just like, we already saw the Chargers and Ravens game. Like, the Ravens just ran away from them. There's nothing the Chargers could do.
I unfortunately think that's going to be the Chargers' fate. Like, not to say they can't win, but these other teams are all better. Like, the Chargers are going to go out on the road next week. If they beat the Texans this week, which is not a foregone conclusion, they're going to be like a 6-point underdog to whoever they play, maybe more than that. So I think it's kind of the foregone conclusion for that team. I personally, if I was a fan of the Chargers, would want nothing to do with Mahomes. Somebody else take out Mahomes. That guy just finds ways to win all the time. So that's just my perspective on that. But I get it's division rival. They want to see. Jeff's point is that there's no expectations for the Chargers if they play the Chiefs. They always lose to the Chiefs. So yeah, it's exactly a house money type of game.
Well, let's get to the gold picks for Super Wildcard Weekend. The rules of Rob and I not being able to use the same pick are off as well now that we're back in the playoffs because there's so few games to actually
quick question.
Yes, Cam.
Quick question. The game that we played at the start of the year, do I get money for that, or was that just for fun?
You get $100 each from all of us. I'll have to pay. I'll have to pay you out from Cust.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. Well, you can't use a bank transfer. I'm a complete stooge, and I've got that covered now. I sent another one of my guys money the other day. It's for stuff. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Anyway, how do I get a hold of you guys, and how do we deal with this? I don't have cuss information. Actually, yeah, Pat, you deal with it. Thanks. Anyway, end of discussion. Thank you.
Yeah,
I knew we bet on something. I was thinking, was it
second
food?
year in a row my teams have completely gagged down the stretch. It's very
Hey, I'll take it, Rob. I'll take anything these days.
Yeah.
Well,
we're gonna have to send the money digitally, Cam. So it's
Oh, with AskCoin? Okay, yeah, I'll get an account. Just send me, actually, with the way the world's going and we're the 51st day, just send me gold, minerals and silver, whatever I can get. Just give me something tangible. Fuck, I'll go pick up the brick myself if you hide it somewhere. Anyway, I think I'm going to get in the mineral market the way the world's going right now, but we'll talk about that on a futuristic show.
A futuristic show? That sounds like a lot
of
fun.
Well, you know what I mean.
A future
show, yeah.
A future show, but it could be futuristic as well if we want to, if that's the theme.
Who knows where we're going to be, you know what I mean? We could, the way things are going, Canada, like, what's the deal?
We live in a simulation anyway, so whoever crafted this entire thing.
I was going to escape to Greenland, but it's not safe either. Like, what the fuck? Can't go anywhere. Maybe won't touch the Arctic. I'll go back to Yellowknife and fucking figure it out there. Stick some diamonds up my ass from the mine of where they get them.
So Cam wins the win total draft show at the beginning of the year. Cam is the champion of that. Rob is second for the second consecutive year on that. So congratulations to you, Cam. Additionally, all of the winners are now solidified, and I think payouts are being worked out at the moment for the Underdog Pat Mayo Experience Pick'em contest that ran from weeks 1 through 18. You just played on Underdog, and if you did really well on Underdog and you said you signed up for the contest, which was completely free, there's $25,000 of extra money to be won, Rob. People don't sign up for these things enough. So the top 10 are getting paid out this week, and it's like $5,000 to first place of extra money you can have.
I mean, it's a no-brainer, honestly. You think about what people will do for like 50. Look what Cam would do for $50. Guys talking about eating dog bones on air, stuff like that.
I did it for free. I did it for ratings.
Just for the publicity.
The good news is we won't be like Alaska and Hawaii, Pat. I can enter all the contests that you tell me I can't enter. Like some of these contests I can't get to because I'm excluded. But hey, I want to join these contests. Like, I will admit your contests are amazing. And the thing is, the pools are really big. And yeah, you'd be a fucking idiot. Not like, honestly, like, why not just join and try to win? It's almost like a free roll for stuff, right? You know what I mean, Rob? Like, if somebody's going to offer you something,
it's a free roll for something that you were doing anyway.
Yeah.
So like,
wrote your own commercial.
Like, why wouldn't you do it? So right now, go use code Mayo and Underdog. I think we're going to run it back for golf season. Maybe we'll do something for the Super Bowl, an overall total props contest on Underdog. And we have NFL best ball drafts. I put out a strategy show this weekend. That's a lot of fun. Apparently, people are absolute goobers who draft in these things. And I can tell you that after learning what like the strategy is and then going into these best ball drafts for Underdog with $200K for first place, people are bad at drafting and have no strategy whatsoever. So like 75% of the field are morons. Use code Mayo, sign up, you get a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. Just use your bonus money to do all the drafts. That stuff's easy. And if we get enough signups with code Mayo, we're going to have our own custom new PGA best ball draft at the end of the month as well. So please help out the show, and I'll have a pick'em one here for you, which is probably going to be the lead on my gold picks this week. This one's going to be fun. Matthew Stafford, Cam, higher and more than 0.5 rushing yards on Monday Night Football. I don't care where the game is going to be played against the Minnesota Vikings.
No, I agree. Probably going to be played in Glendale, Arizona. We talked about it. God bless everybody in California. It's an absolute nightmare with the winds, and it's crazy, the world right now. But I would say this too. The Rams, a lot of people like them this week. They're a very popular dog. I'm going to say that I couldn't agree more. Stafford's going to take off a little bit. I know he's older, but he can get there. I would expect him to get double-digit rushing yards.
Yeah, so Stafford, last 3 games that he played, 6 attempts, 3 attempts, and 4 attempts. Now, 3 of them, there was kneel downs against the Jets, so those ones he really had none in that game. But the 2 previous games against San Francisco, both wins, by the way, 4 rushing attempts, 6 rushing attempts, 16, 18 yards. The only thing that worries me, Rob, is that Minnesota's pass rush is so good that he doesn't get time to get away. But I see him to kind of fall forward and then him to not take 3 kneels. And he does sneak the ball.
The number is so low he does sneak it. The number is so low though that even if to me, this is not an optimal game for Stafford to have a lot of rushing yards because Minnesota blitzes a lot. So I think Stafford will prioritize getting the ball out of his hands very quickly. That's what happened when they played that early Thursday Night Football game earlier this year. Stafford was kind of trying to get the ball out of his hands quickly. It worked. The second thing is Minnesota plays predominantly zone behind their blitzing. They don't play a lot of man coverage because they don't have great cover corners. And typically when you want to take a rushing quarterback over, you want the other team to play as much man as possible because when they play man, they're chasing the receivers across the field. They're not looking at the quarterback a lot of the time, and the quarterback can just take off. But with that said, the number is a half. It's not like you need him to cover, 24.5 rushing yards. He just needs basically 1 rush in the game that offsets any potential kneels later on in the game as well. So I think that's a good look because it's a high leverage spot. I agree with you. I like the over there as well.
Yeah, Cam. It's body, like you mentioned, body on the line, playoffs. I can see Stafford. It's not ideal, I suppose. Like he takes off for 4 yards, gets crunched, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm never running again. Stay here at four rushing yards. That's fine."
Out of principle, you have to take it. Guy needs a fucking yard. You know what I mean? On a scramble, anything. If Minnesota plays a certain coverage, diving forward, first down. If you lose, you lose. But Rob, you guys run it through your supercomputers. You have to. 1 yard. Come on. That's nuts. It's not like the guy's got a wooden leg. He could still move a little bit.
And he was just off a bye week as well.
Yes, good point, Rob. Good point.
And the median projection is 2 rushing yards, and the overall projection is 4 rushing yards. So the four times as good of a bet as you're going to find.
Yeah, that's the best. That's good. Oh man, I'm having problems though this week, guys. Know what the problem with this week is? There's so many you want something, but there's so much noise around these games and stuff like that. It's even in the regular season. At least we have a batch to pick from. If I can kind of get off some certain things, but I don't know, man.
There's no Titans and Panthers on the board this week. It makes it much more challenging.
Hey, the Panthers were very good to me. The Titans, on the other hand, I'd like to fucking murder that team. If they didn't exist in the league and Cameron Drew didn't mention them at the start of the year, my percentage would have been amazing. I'm an idiot for betting on them, but it's kind of like that situation, Rob. I kept on doing it because I thought if I got off them, and the fact they never covered, it was just they took it to a new time low. They fucking reek.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a great scene from the Tennessee Titans. They got the number 1 pick out of it, so that's good.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You're going to need a fucking quarterback.
They brought Callahan back too, so who knows? I don't know.
I don't know either. I know we should ban them forever. They're dead. They're dead to me.
Well, before we get to Rob's gold pick, I want to let everyone know that the PME is going to be live on Friday. This is something that we're doing on Fridays now. I have Ben Raza up first. We're going to talk through the DraftKings slate for the Super Wild Card weekend, the Sunday main slate. Then he's got some college basketball bets that I'm going to tail, and we worked out very well with Thor last week when he gave us alt lines on Buffalo in the Bahamas Bowl. So a very profitable show for us. So he's up at 10 a.m. At 10:45 a.m. Ray Garvin's going to come on to do a quick very top of the board mock draft version 1.0 on the Pat Mayo Experience. And he's got some NFL props, and John Kelly is going to be joining me for UFC props and UFC bets at the end. It'll be like a snappy 100 minutes or so. You can tune in live on YouTube on the Pat Mayo Experience playlist, Mayo Media Network, or at the PME on X. You can find it as well, streaming up there. So we're trying to hit some more spots, Rob.
Makes sense.
I was on the Buffalo Bulls too. I tell Ben Raza I love them. We fucking give us liberty or give us a cover. They fucking murdered the Flames. They're more like a fucking wet pick lighter. That team reeks.
What do you got, Rob?
Yeah, what do you do?
I'm gonna go and take the Steelers plus 10.
Yes, Rob. Yes. Everybody, a lot of Raven love this week. Oh, blow them out, baby. Blow them out by 30. I like it.
It's all relative to the I think the last time these guys played, I picked the Ravens on this show. I think not a gold pick. Gold picks never win, but it was silver. But that was at 6, and now we're at 10. And George Pickens is in the lineup for the Steelers in this game, and Zay Flowers is probably not in for the Ravens in this game, and all that makes a difference when it comes to the number in the game. I like the Ravens, don't get me wrong, but one thing about Lamar Jackson's history, his career, is that the teams that see him more tend to have better defensive production against him. Bill Belichick talked about this before. He said, we're game planning for Lamar. We have 3 practices in a week. It's impossible. It's impossible to do that if you see him once every 3 or 4 years. But the Steelers, this is the 3rd time now that they've seen him. Tomlin, for the most part, has had a lot of success against Lamar in his career. He's now down his number 1 wide receiver. That means they probably run the ball a little bit more. That means they're probably not going to win by margin as much as well. And I'll tell you, that last game that they played was such a misleading game because Steelers were right in it. Russell Wilson had a huge scramble. He fumbled inside the 5-yard line on a big tackle. I think it was Ardarius Washington that tackled him for the Ravens. Completely flipped the game. Ravens go down the other way. The Steelers were moving the ball like the Ravens defense was Swiss cheese at that point in the game. And also, late in the game, there was a pick 6 that made 34-17 final. I mean, very incredibly misleading. I don't like the Steelers. You guys know that. I pick against them pretty frequently, but I think that at 10 now, it's too many points. I understand all the reasons why someone would think the Ravens would win by margin, but Pittsburgh sucked down the stretch. I don't care. I will take the 10 points with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I like this. So, Cam, I think that 2 of the Steelers, the Texans, and the Broncos, I think 2 of those 3 teams cover. So I just picked them all on the spread show and hope to go 2 for 3. Yep. But that's where I'm leaning at. Like, underdogs do well in this round of the playoffs.
Yeah, and Rob brings up a good point. And for all the people, I remember they're talking, the Steelers couldn't have played a shittier game against Cincinnati. They lose by 2. You get the line at 2.5, 3, they cover. They just played like shit early in the game. Then they started coming back and they ran out of time. I get it. They're pretty pedestrian, but the one thing they can do, they know the they know the Ravens inside out. Lamar's playoff history is not good. All it takes is Pickens not to get rattled, the defense to hit Lamar a couple times. That's the whole thing. They're a very familiar opponent, and now you're asking Baltimore to win by 11? Hell, they could win by 20. I get it, but I think Rob's right. I think it's a prudent play. You're getting double digits with the Steelers. I think Baltimore probably wins this game by 4-7.
I'm with you. And I like the Steelers plus 10 as well. Who do you got for a gold pick?
Do you want to start, Pat?
I already did. I gave
already gave it.
Okay. Yes, sorry. Okay. I'll go with Bob Bronco. This could be a popular dog. I could die. But I just love what I see from Denver. I think they have an elite secondary. Bo Nix is getting better all the time. For people that don't remember, too, he played a million years in college. He's not a kid. I understand it's going to be a tough environment in Buffalo. I love the Bills. For a blessing, all the guys that I know, Cameron Tudor, I cheer for Buffalo is what Rob said off the top. But this is about money, and I think the Denver Broncos are going to keep it tight. I think Peyton is a better coach than McDermott. I think they're going to come up with some schemes. I like Denver to barely lose this game, so I'm going to take the points, guys. Give me the Denver Broncos plus 9 against Buffalo. I think they lose by a field goal.
It's funny. Like this game has so like we think about all of the games on the bell curve this week, Rob. This one seems to be the most, for at least the way that I see it, like has the most wild range of outcomes. Like I could see Denver losing by 45 points. I could see I could see them winning. Like it's all like if we haven't seen Allen have that weirdly turnover prone game, even though he's thrown some passes that like he's gotten pretty lucky on. It was like that Joe Burrow thing a few years ago where he threw like 8 passes that should have been picked and just weren't, and it really helped out his stats. Now he's gotten better with that as the season's gone along, but when thrown into the pressure cooker, Josh Allen's gonna make 3 or 4 plays in this game that are gonna be the best plays of the game or the worst plays in the game. And that's the one thing I worry about with Denver's D is that they're so good and they can seize on those opportunities. The problem with Denver's defense at the same time is, though, if Josh Allen can extend these plays, it's a lot like we saw against Lamar, is that once Lamar was able to run around a little bit in the backfield, their defense absolutely collapsed down the field. And the same thing might happen here.
Well, and that's sort of the thing for me with this game. I don't have an opinion. I think this is a fine number personally, but what's concerning for me about Denver is when they've taken these steps up in class, especially on the road against a good offense, every single one of those games, I'm not saying they got blown out, but their defense, who everyone thinks is this great defense, they got shredded in those games. They went to Cincinnati, they gave up a ton of points. They went to the Chargers, they gave up a ton of points. That Baltimore game, they got smoked. I think it was 41-10. So that's the big concern for me with the Denver defense. But it is a large amount of points. And like Buffalo's D, it's healthy now. Is it good? I don't know. There's still paths to success, especially they play soft when the game gets in the garbage time as well. So
the thing how to beat the Bills, Rob, is to run the ball. And I wish Denver's running attack was better. But Bo Nix is basically a Bronco. He's like a running back too. So you could come up with packages for him to run the ball and keep the sticks moving. And Peyton is a smart guy. He's going to know how to attack the Bills. I'm just saying this. Say the Bills are up, 14, the back door is always open with a number like this too. That's why I'm on Bobby Bronco, because I think maybe they lose the game, but I think they can cover in the last drive if they're down. Like, think about it, Rob. They're down 15 points, 16 points. They go for a touchdown, 2-point conversion, lose by 8. I'm getting 9. Like, all these things can happen. So I think it's too many points. That's my opinion.
The other thing too, I'll get to the underdog play towards the end, but Bo Nix, Rob, higher than 5.5 rushing attempts is juiced up anyway. I really like that one.
I didn't look at the attempts. I played him over 22.5 rush yards. Actually, let me just see what it's at quickly. I don't want this to be stale.
I believe it's 25.
22.5.
24.5, 24.5, 25.5, depending on the spot.
25.5 at underdog right now.
Right. Okay. So I like the Bo Nix looks because I do think Buffalo is going to score. And if I thought Denver was going to be competitive or let's say like in a close game throughout, I probably would go less on Bo Nix here. But once he get into those scrambling situations, and especially if Buffalo's going to play soft later on in the game, he will take those yards every single time. So I like the attempts look. I honestly never really look at the attempts market, but I did play Bo Nix rush yards over. So I think we're in simpatico there as well.
I like both of those. So when we get to the underdog play in a little bit, then we can throw that one on there as well. The TGL, presented by SoFi, is golf's newest league. It's all indoors in an arena with high-tech meeting. High stakes meets prime time on ESPN. It's the 3-on-3 match play golf league that takes the competition of pro golf and places it inside the arena atmosphere. 6 teams featuring the PGA Tour's best players go head-to-head every single week. And we're talking players that get mic'd up, shot clocks, refs, never-before-seen holes, a moving green, the playoffs, the lights, the camera, all of the action all goes down. The first-of-its-kind arena golf league in Florida. And yes, you can bet on the TGL, which is the greatest part about this entire thing. You can stream it live on ESPN. So, what you need to do is tune in Mondays and Tuesdays on ESPN in January, find out the right odds, get a feel for how this is going to work, and go win some money. Remember, it's only on ESPN and ESPN Plus. This is TGL presented by SoFi. Keep up is golf. Silver picks for Super Wildcard Weekend. I'll lead off on this one because I have it all queued up. The main side that I like this week, and I got to make sure that I don't have a stale number here. What's the number? It's still 4.5. I love the Eagles. Minus 4.5, Cam.
You know what? And a lot of people are making points for the Packers, and I kind of lean Eagles too. Hurt's still in the concussion protocol.
He's fine.
He's ready to go. Let's
Yeah.
not fucking kid.
cleared.
Let's not fucking kid ourselves here. Like, honest to God, these reports take out the noise. This guy's ready to go, and I think he's a lot healthier than people think too. I think it's a smokescreen by the Philadelphia Eagles. Also, their defense, Green Bay's beaten up, man. They have to play the game of their lives here, and I think Green Bay could be a popular dog. Popular dogs, public dogs go to die.
That's the whole.
And,
Cam hit on it, Rob. That's the whole thing. The Eagles' offense. I mean, they sputter early anyway. If you want to play some anti-correlated same game parlays with the Eagles, just take Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley unders in the first quarter, then bet them over the rest of the game, because that's usually how their offense ends up going when they're at a complete full health and with their full complement of players. Their defense is really good, and I think that people forget about that. And the Packers, without Christian Watson, who is now out, when he has been off the field for the Packers, Rob, their offense does not really move all that well.
Well, they don't have a deep threat is the problem. So the Packers offense usually doesn't move succinctly down the field. Like, if you look at Green Bay under Jordan Love, they have a high EPA per play, one of the best in the league, but they have an average success rate. And that means that on a play-by-play basis, they're not very consistent, but they're able to generate big plays. That's what they've been able to do with Jordan Love. But you lose Christian Watson, you lose the big play threat down the field, and that's going to hurt them going forwards. It's kind of the reason I lean under in this game. Honestly, I just don't see Green Bay pushing the ball downfield anymore. I think, especially with Jordan Love now with the elbow on the injury report, limited in practice, throwing arm. Where have we seen this before? Brock Purdy, a few weeks ago. But they probably run the ball a lot more. The passing game is probably short and underneath. And on the Eagles side, my biggest concern, Pat, would be just Hurts off of the concussion and how quarterbacks tend to play coming off of a concussion. If you bucket quarterbacks into returning from specific injuries, for some reason or another, coming back from a concussion, the performance goes way downhill in that first game back. That's mildly concerning for me in this particular game, which is why I lean to the under here. But I don't know. I honestly just have to wait for the injury reports today and tomorrow at the quarterback position to see what I'm going to do here.
So there are two things based on what you said. One is Cust is convinced that Jalen Hurts isn't going to play, which means that he is going to play. So that's very helpful for all of us. And when we look at that concussion, like the stats coming back, I saw one chart where the only guy to come back from a concussion this year and was really good the week after was Lamar. It was better than he had ever been. So that's kind of funny to think about. But how many quarterbacks get 3 weeks off from their concussion? Because pretty sure Hurts could have come back 2 weeks ago and was nah, we have nothing to play for. Let's just rest up.
But I'm pretty sure he could have finished that fucking game if they let him. Because the thing is,
he wanted to come back.
Yes, that's the thing, right?
But guys, he actually has a concussion. He is not. He's got to get cleared by doctors.
He does have to get cleared, but was he he was in the protocol? But you can game the system a little bit, like what Cam was saying. That if you know that you're going to pass, you don't have to pass if you don't go take the test, and then you just remain in protocol. Do we know that he was actively trying to pass concussion protocol last week?
We don't know anything because the reporting in the NFL is so terrible nowadays. In fact, it's often the opposite of what they report, especially if your name is Ian Rappaport. Sorry, I'm going to go into a rant here about this in a second. But we don't know.
If it was you and you were the head coach and you were the organization of the Eagles, knowing that in Week 18 you weren't playing Hurts anyway, you had nothing to play for, why even try to give your opponents any sort of information? Make them prepare for the Irish assassin or Kenny Pickett or whoever it is, just to have that in the back of their minds when you know Hurts is going to pass. And now I'm going to feel like an idiot when he doesn't pass and he doesn't play and Cust was right. I just don't see that happening.
Don't worry about it. The Philadelphia Eagles got a big envelope. Dr. Nick Riviera's in the fucking room ready to go. Are we stupid? Jalen Hurts is playing in the playoffs. I don't care if he's hurt. Pardon the pun. He's playing. I don't care what the doctor, they will find a doctor that will let him play. He will get through this. Come on, people. Honestly, you really don't, if people think this guy's not going to play, what?
I don't think he's not going to play. I think the chance that he doesn't play is greater than zero, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yes, it's greater than zero, but
it's not a foregone conclusion that
out of 100%. Out of 100%, I'm thinking 7%?
No, even higher than that. But there's so many things that can happen. He could have a setback on the practice field, and then he hasn't practiced until yesterday in 2 weeks. So all of that stuff makes a difference. I'm not. this isn't like Hurts is not going to play type of handicap. For me, it's just a lot of uncertainty at the quarterback position for both teams. I don't necessarily want to get involved with that just now. And like I said, I think the only thing I would consider playing now is just the under because of that uncertainty at those positions.
All right, well, Philly still -4.5, Cam, is my silver pick. It's my favorite side of the week. What do you like for your silver pick?
I was actually, Rob was on to something. I almost like the total in the game as much, but I'm going to stick to sides and I'll give you opinions on totals. So I'm going to go, you guys probably disagree with me on this one, but I'm going to go with Washington +3. Here's the deal. I believe in this team. I know Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield. God, I really love the way this guy plays. He's a grinder, but I think Washington will be able to do whatever they want on offense against the Bucs defense. So it's going to be turned into a track meet. Lean over in this game as well. Should be a high scoring affair. I like the dog. So give me Washington +3 in this game. If I think they can win outright, I'll take it. I know people love Tampa Bay, and well said. Like, this is one favorite that can cover, but I don't know. Maybe I think the Commanders are better than they are. I just think there's some magic there, and I'm going to take them +3. If I think the game is going to come down to the last possession, I'll have the dog. Give me Washington +3, please. But I love the over as well.
I know this is probably counterintuitive, Rob, to what's actually proper when it comes to betting, but if I was going to bet Washington, I'd just bet money line.
Well, the 3 is so valuable.
It's a valuable 3.
I think if this game is close, that they're probably going to end up winning it. And I actually think they get wrecked in this game. I don't think that I've liked Washington a lot this year. Rookie quarterbacks on the road in the playoffs do not have a great track record to begin with. So I can see Hurts stumbling a little bit. And if he, like, unlike the Broncos, like Jaden Daniels,
Daniels.
Sorry. My mistake. With Bo Nix and the Broncos, like, Nix can keep the ball on the ground, he can run, and he can facilitate these short passes and let Cortland Sutton or Mims and have these playmakers do something for him, and then you have that defense to fall back on. If Jaden Daniels is off a little bit, like, Washington stinks, and we've seen it in the second half of the season, and they get wrecked.
I'm with you. I like Tampa at 3 personally. I just, for me, I think Tampa's offense is going to move easily in this game because Washington can't defend the run at all. They haven't been able to do so all year, even with Jonathan Allen back. I think Tampa's going to be able to move the ball on the ground. And if you look at where Baker Mayfield has struggled this year, it's when they get themselves into 3rd and long. That's kind of been his entire career, honestly. But if they can keep the stuff manageable, he's going to do a good job. So I think Tampa's going to score in this game. On the other side, there's going to be some defensive improvements. Antoine Winfield is very likely coming back here for the Bucs, which is going to shore up their safety position. But it's kind of the same thing. I don't think the Commanders are going to be able to run the ball all that successfully in this particular game. And that's going to leave Jaden Daniels facing Todd Bowles, who has pretty much owned young quarterback. Like, it's been his MO for his entire career of confusing and owning young quarterbacks. These teams played in week 1, and you got to cut Daniels some slack because it was his first career start. He's a rookie. But if you go back and watch that game, like, he is very confused at what the Bucs are sending at him in that particular game. I don't like the matchup for Washington is what it comes down to. So, yeah, I'm opposite of Cam here. I like Tampa Bay.
I should have just bet totals, but I'm telling you guys, Daniels too. One thing he will be able to do is run, and I think a lot of the times he's kind of reining it in. He's going to go fucking bonkers in this game. Like, it's just lay it all out in the line. Kind of like what RG3 did before he died against Seattle. I felt bad for him because he was obviously hurt, and Shanahan kept him out there to get killed, and his career was never the same. But I believe, like, Daniels is going to run some more, keep the sticks moving, and I just think Washington's a gritty team, and Quinn and his staff will come up with some stuff. I think it's going to be Pat. You're right. Like, I think it's going to be a tight game, and I would not be shocked if Washington won. We have a difference of opinion. We agree on the totals, but I'm down with Washington as a dog.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that Washington's super live to win this game. The Bucs are incredibly beatable. We saw them almost lose to New Orleans last week. It's just whenever they play a step up, except for the Broncos was the weird game where they got absolutely pummeled in like week 3 or 4, that the Bucs have just been really good in this spot all year long.
It's true. And watching Baker Mayfield, the guy's an animal, and I got to give him a lot of credit. Like,
where's his rushing? Where's his rushing over? That's a great bet.
Oh, I told you, I'm taking every fucking. If you got Stafford at a half, like, you tell me what quarterback's not going to run out of one. Like, I literally believe out of all the quarterbacks playing, other than Philadelphia, that's the one I wouldn't touch. But every single fucking guy, maybe not Love either. That's the game I don't want. I will take both quarterbacks. I'll take Mayfield, Daniels, Stafford. Like, Darnold.
Yeah.
Darnold will. I think he's even going to move. Like, all these guys, Nix, Allen,
Herbert.
What else are we missing? Herbert.
Yeah, Herbert's been looks like a gazelle when he's
Stroud.
running out there, man.
Oh, is he ever a gazelle? And you saw him in the Rose Bowl, Rob. When he's gone, he's gone. I think Harbaugh is going to unleash the beast this week. You got to do everything. It's the playoffs. You got to leave it all out there. So, you know what, guys? I love that. I think every quarterback, except I'm staying away from that Philadelphia Green Bay game, Rob. Question marks. Love. Sometimes he just stays in the pocket. He doesn't hit his numbers.
Yeah.
We're worried about Hurts. But every other combination, over. How we doing?
The only problem with Herbert in his rushing yardage total this week is if they like absolutely crush Houston, and then he doesn't have to run.
I would honestly, I don't know. I can't remember the last time I saw longest rush for quarterbacks, but I kind of prefer. I don't think it. Oh yeah, Justin Herbert long rush is 10 and a half right now.
Yeah,
he has like one a game where
does.
he's just he takes.
What's his total? What's his total? What's his rushing total?
His total is 18 and a half.
18
Oh, okay. So guys, and I don't need the supercomputer. If he's going to have the 10 and a half, 11, you can't tell me he can't get 7 yards with 4 more carries.
No, but he might not need to. Like that might be the 3rd and 12 pickup, and then it's just knees the rest of the game, and like you're up by a bunch, whatever. I prefer, like, he doesn't actually, weirdly enough, like it's etched in our mind that he would hit that. He doesn't actually hit that longest rush all that often. He had a 41-yard rush in week 18, at 18, 12, 30, 38, and 13. So he only covered it 6 times in 18
But I'll tell you why, Pat. Because he plays half of every year injured.
Yeah, that's true.
He couldn't move for a half a year. He's on a high ankle sprain. Like he when he's healthy, he will run the ball. That's the biggest difference.
Stroud? What's Stroud's again, Pat?
Stroud's
11 and a half?
It was 13 and a half.
13 and a half, yeah.
Okay, and what's Herbert? 17 and a half?
17, yeah.
Oh, okay. Holy shit, man, these numbers are. I'm getting excited. My fingers starting to get hot and shake. There's a lot of buttons I'm going to hit. Like this is my. I'm smashing this shit all day long. Aren't you guys?
We'll see.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't a lot of bets. Yeah,
I don't need to do it all day long. I'll like pick my time and be like, all right, let's get in here. Let's see what happens.
Well, I'm on the air all day long, and when you're doing a show, click, 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 click.
Oh, of course.
Hot finger.
So, Rob, what did you take as your silver pick?
I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills team total over 27 and a half.
What do you think about the over?
Hold on.
27 and a half.
Cam, I couldn't hear what Rob said when he said the number. What was the number?
Bills team total over 27 and a half.
Team total over 27 and a half. All right.
I get excited.
Which, Cam, I'll say, I actually do like the over in the game as well. But the one thing I feel most confident in is Buffalo scoring. And I do think Denver will be able to score in this game as well, but I feel less confident in that. That's why I'm going to the team total instead. But the market has bet this game under quite a bit this week. And I don't know. The weather looks fine in Buffalo. It's going to be cold. It's not windy. Yeah,
I just checked, Rob. It's basically, for all you people in Fahrenheit, it's at 32, like basically even. For Canadian viewers, and chance of precipitation was like 15%. If there's no snow or anything like that, and wind is the problem in Buffalo. It's one of those zones.
It's nothing though. It's like 5 to 10 miles an hour.
Oh, it's perfect. That is.
And Allen has the arm. Both these guys have an arm to throw through the wind.
Good call, Rob. Good call.
So I'm going with that. I just, like I said, I think Denver's defense is pretty overrated. They tend to beat up on the really bad quarterbacks, but they step up in class and they give up a lot of yardage, a lot of points, especially when they're traveling. So really tough spot for that defense. I think the Bills will score points here.
Looking at the longest rush, I'm trying to find it now for Josh Allen. 13 and a half, that feels like a gimme.
I know. The only concern is if they get up a lot, right?
Yeah, but if they get up by a lot, it's because he's running the ball too. Like
I think so.
They're sending heat at him. He's gonna run.
I can't wait till these quarterbacks combine for like 4 rushing yards this week.
I know. That's the thing. As I said, smash. I could be a sitting duck. You know it, and everyone's thinking the same thing. Like people who watch football, we're not like, everyone. A lot of the people are going to play these quarterback things, and it's just a disaster. Like,
rooting for overs is obviously like it's the more recreational, casual thing to do. You always have a chance. But I will say, as someone who bets a lot of quarterback rushing props, rooting for quarterback rushing overs are the ones that make you want to yell at the TV all the
Yep.
time. Where you're like, you run the ball, you got 9 yards in front of you. What do you?
We were doing it. I was like, Spencer Rattler not going over his rushing total last week cost me around $5,000. That if he just gets it, and he was like 2 yards away, he only had one rush in the game, and me and my friend were sitting here watching that stupid. I had all this Bucks money like coming in for them to win on the division to make the playoffs, but I also had this like alternate side of it. It's like, oh, 2-minute drill, we got this. There was like 4 times in the 2-minute drill where he's standing there with open field in front of him, like, just run the fucking ball for 4 yards.
Run the ball. They throw like 30
too.
yards out of bounds. It's like, just pick up the yardage. What are you doing here?
I don't get it, man. It makes no fucking sense. No, you're right. But that was a good bet. That's just deer in the headlight shit. He'll figure it out. You got to take off.
Well, I don't think he's going to figure it out because I don't know if he's going to have a job for much longer.
He'll be Spencer Rattler. He's just one of those guys. He'll be a backup because you know what he does? He does things that are really one drive. You're like, wow. And then 3 other drives, you go, ooh. And he'll always have a place in the NFL with his athleticism. That's the one thing he can. But he didn't run for you. That was kind of a problem. But,
that was an issue. Yeah, I think combined, the problem was, Rob, I had Spencer Rattler tied to so many of these underdog tickets. That's usually how I build out. Like I win big or I don't win kind of thing. Now, fortunately, the same game one I did for Indianapolis and Jacksonville came through. Didn't need overtime because Brian Thomas got a half yard over his total, which was just terrific stuff. And the Alec Pierce longest reception, I think, hit in every game this year. That was like a free money one to throw on.
Also won on like the first possession of this game last week as well. I think he caught a huge touchdown on the first possession. Last week.
Every game that Flacco played, Pierce except for like one when I think Pierce got hurt in the game, was the one where he cleared it every single time. So I was up a bunch of money anyway, and this one we were just watching it all day and tracking it. It just couldn't come through for us, which sucked. But we'll get back on the horse here. Let's talk bronze picks though. Before we do that, Cam, do you have a bronze pick?
Not necessarily. So I'm kind of torn as usual. So how about you fellas? Show me the way. Oh, that's sorry, I didn't mean to piss you off there.
No. You're not upsetting me in any way. I also don't have a bronze pick, and I'm looking.
I kind of do it a lot, though, so I can understand your frustration with me. I got one thing to say. Like the Rams game, like I've not heard one person take the Vikings. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings are a way better team. I don't know if that's going to matter in this game, but
that's Darnold, that game versus Detroit. See what I'm talking about, though? Like people are like, oh, yeah, the guy's one of the best lines. He's sitting there all day and he still can't hit a pass. He sails every ball. Geno Smith is like, he's got the worst fucking line. At least he can connect once in a while.
Let's calm down on Geno. Like Darnold had a much better year than Geno Smith can.
Okay, Darnold sucks. You put him on it like
they're the same.
Tennessee or Seattle.
I would say that they are in the same tier of quarterback. In Seattle, made the mistake of re-signing Geno Smith to a huge deal, and I don't think that Minnesota, regardless of how much success they have in these playoffs, is going to sign Darnold to a huge deal because he's good, but he's not that good.
It's about the line, and Minnesota's line's good, and Darnold still.
I mean, Minnesota's line's Minnesota's line is good. It's not a great offensive line. Like they scheme
better than Seattle's, much better.
Yeah, but I don't know.
It is better than Seattle.
I mean, do we actually know that? Because I mean, Grubb was just
fired.
We
do.
No. See, I don't think that we do because you take a look at Washington for example. People would tell you they have a good offensive line. They don't have a good offensive line. Kingsbury with Jaden Daniels has schemed up a system to get the ball out quickly, where you just never see their line have problems. Like when they're trailing in games and Jaden Daniels has to drop back in order to like take a 5-step drop or a 3-step drop. There's guys in his face every single time. And then he has to roll.
I'm telling you, but
Daniels holds the ball too long.
Yes, Rob. And another thing, Seattle also lost a fucking long snapper because he's snapping over condominium.
Well, it sounds like replacing that guy was a good thing.
Yeah, the other guy sucks too. Everybody's out of position and they suck. And Geno Smith can't even have time to fucking he's dead before it even starts. He's sitting there, he can't he's getting the ball and there's 3 guys on him. It's like what the you got to give a quarterback time. Darnold at least could get it. Rob. I don't know. I can guarantee this, and I can't guarantee a lot in life. Fuck. But I'll tell you, Seattle's offensive line is one of the worst in the league, and Minnesota is 100 times better. What does your supercomputer say?
Well, the Seahawks played with the 3rd-string right tackle for pretty much the entire year because Abraham Lucas and George Fant were out.
Yes.
Their center who replaced Connor Williams, who retired, Oluwatimi, not very good either. Basically, outside of Charles Cross, their left tackle, they don't really have much of an offensive line.
And he struggled in his first year. He's a young kid. Remember, they drafted him early. Cross is good.
With that
other than
said,
they suck.
Minnesota also lost their best offensive lineman this year as well. It was in the game against the Rams earlier this year when Darisaw went down. They traded for Cam Robinson from Jacksonville, who's like below average left tackle. He's fine. I mean, the Vikings O-line is better than the Seahawks, but I don't know. Gino's like, find that guy's got to sign with a team that plays indoors. That's the one thing he's got to do. He's got to figure out a way to get to a team that plays most of their games inside. Because for some reason, Saints, beautiful idea.
What a call on the Saints, because you got an old car and whatever. Actually, I don't even want to say that. And then if Geno Smith played for the Saints, that's actually kind of scary.
You know what's kind of crazy? Yeah. I was digging through the numbers. Derek Carr actually had a pretty decent season when he played. Like versus everyone else that they ran out there. Like he is the epitome of the 20th best quarterback in football.
Yeah, Carr's fine. Like he's not going to win you a Super Bowl, but he has enough in him. Like he'll hit receiver. Those games early in the year. The guy was bombing like 60-yard passes downfield to Olave and Shaheed. Give that guy a functional offensive coordinator and some receivers. Carr's going to be fine. You know, he might shit his pants in a playoff game and throw short of the sticks, short of the end zone on the final play of the game. I'm never going to get over that Raiders-Bengals game from a few years back.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
Throw it in the end zone, man. It's the last play of the game. You're down by a touchdown. How do you throw it 2 yards short of the goal line? And
the Raiders played their asses off that game, too. They were on fire. Yeah. No, what, Rob? A lot of things in life are painful. So that's life. Yep.
Well, it could be worse.
For New Year's resolutions 2025, Cam, I am wishing for you that Geno Smith can be as good as you think he is someday.
Thank you, Patrick. I don't think he's like the best quarterback or whatever, but when you don't have a chance, you don't have a chance. I don't do fucking resolutions anymore either. Just change your life. You don't need to put it on a list because you're just going to disappoint yourself. Like resolutions are just a one-way ticket for failure, in my opinion, because if you write them down and don't do them, you feel like even more of a shithead. So don't do them to begin with and figure it out yourself. But anyway, I cheer for Geno. That's what I do.
So he's not Peyton Manning. He's not Peyton Manning like the way you talk about him, basically.
Oh God, no. Geno Smith, I just think he's better than people think he is. I don't think he's like by any stretch brilliant, but he throws a nice ball and he's working with a lot of guys who suck.
He can't be brilliant. He's not an English footy player, so that'd be difficult.
He's better than Sir. Anyway, playoff picks. Enough of this. I'll do the Geno Smith podcast another time. What are we doing here?
I don't know. I'm trying to find a broad.
I have Bo Nix over 5.5 rushing attempts plus 115.
Okay.
I want the same pick, but I'm not going to do it. But I agree with everything you're saying about Nix. No, Pat, just give me the fucking Eagles. As like you, I'll take the Eagles as well. I don't know. Maybe I'll do totals next week. It's that or Rob. What do you like? Any other games?
Is there a pick that he can steal from you?
Yeah, that's honest.
I don't want to do this. But I'm just going to take the Bucks as my bronze because I can't find anything else right now that I actually like. I apologize, Cam.
Guaranteed winner.
Oh no, it could be a push. We could push the game.
In our luck, we would. Bucks by 3.
Bucks by 3.
No, I get it. I think Tampa Bay. You watch that offense when it sizzles, it sizzles. I just think Washington and them are just going to go back and forth. So. Kind of like the over, but hey, Rob, Tampa Bay, Pat's been onto this team a lot longer than I have. So kudos. And Baker Mayfield is an absolute fucking grinder. I'd love that guy in my team.
He's still the most underrated QB. Baker's the most underrated QB.
We agree on the Geno Smith podcast. Guest today, Baker Mayfield, most underrated quarterback in the NFL. Welcome to the show, Baker.
Baker is what you think Geno is. Like Baker is actually the guy. Whereas Geno he's not the guy. He's a guy for like half the season, but he's not.
I don't have the energy to fight you, but yes, Baker Mayfield is more of a he'll like kill himself for that first down. Where Geno will like he gets there, but Baker Mayfield is actually insane. Like he's willing to get himself fucking killed for an inch, and I love that. He's a hocky player, basically.
A lot of guys would get themselves killed for an extra.
Oh, they're all compared to that guy. That guy is like literally like he doesn't give a shit. Like he's going into right. Rob, see how many times he's been accordioned by these defensive guys.
I was making a penis joke, not a football joke. It's okay.
Oh, sorry. It's pretty
extra inch. You went right over your head.
Yeah. Well, it's not 4:00 in the morning. Pornhub, it's closed. So what are we doing? Yeah. Did I go Eagles? I don't even remember what I did.
You did. Yeah, you took Eagles.
I want to take the Chargers at 2.5, but I'm
Okay.
worried that everyone's on them. But what do you guys think?
Where do you see? Where's the 2.5 at?
FanDuel's doing
FanDuel's 2.5. I swear to God. I got an
Yeah.
account. There's no
Yep.
trickery here.
It
There's
is.
no Cam looking for scraps. Like, it is legitimately there.
I saw
Rob
that.
season.
I thought this was interesting. Just now that we're like into props and just trying to look things through. I had the rushing attempts opened up for Bo Nix to see the +5.5. Jaleel McLaughlin's at 7.5. The past 5 games, he's gone 16, 10, 7, 14, and 7. I mean, obviously they lost to Cincinnati in that time. And you hit it out earlier, Cam, is that I don't know if Denver's gonna be able to run on Buffalo, but you'll want to try to run on Buffalo at least.
You said one of the smartest things ever, and that's the thing. Like, I get sidetracked by sides. McLaughlin is the key for Denver, I think, in my opinion, because he's that guy. Like, you know what I mean? You have the other power back from Notre Dame, and then you have McLaughlin who can do a lot of different things and quick hits and keep the Bills off balance. I love that. No, honestly, Pat, that is the most sneakiest prop out there. McLaughlin.
I actually like it too because they trust him. Peyton trusts McLaughlin the most in pass protection as well.
Yes.
So he's been getting more snaps. Like that's Javonte Williams fell off a cliff because, well, one, he sucks, but also his pass protection sucked at the beginning of the year. And Audric Estime, he's a good back, but
he's a power back.
They don't trust him in pass protection. He misses guys too much. So McLaughlin is getting so many more snaps nowadays. And team trusts him a lot. So that's contributed to the overs there. Yeah.
Pat, can you give me like how many catches on average? Like McLaughlin,
so
how many out of the backfield?
This is what I wanted to come to. So code Mayo at Underdog right now will get you that deposit bonus of up to $1,000. It'll also unlock a free pick, which you can add to any of these entries for Sunday with Justin Herbert. So it'll just be a Justin Herbert higher than 0.5 passing yards. You'll cash that. No problem. You can throw it on as a leg to boost up the payout of everything. The best way to utilize that strategically is actually play 4 and then add the free pick to boost it up to 20-1 or whatever it might be. But Jaleel McLaughlin right now is at 1.5 receptions, Cam. Past 3 games, 2, 3, and 3.
Yeah. Honest to God, Pat, like, I know you get frustrated with me with Geno Smith and stuff like that. I'm so glad you brought this up because I was thinking McLaughlin could be the key. Like for Denver, he's going to be a big part of this thing. And what is his rushing yard prop?
His rushing yard prop is 31.5. I would stay away from that. I think it's easier. I think it's easier to bank like a 7.5 rushing attempts. That is juiced to the over a little bit at it's 0.9, so like -110 on under, -120 on Underdog is the way you would look at it. But the receptions at 1.5, I really like.
Pat, this is what I'm going to do with McLaughlin. Rushing attempts over, receptions over, rushing and receiving over.
I don't think
kind of like my hamburger.
I would stay away from that last one because it's not really doing that much. Like if you same game parlay those together, you put the rushing attempts over and the receptions over. What does that pay, Cam?
I'm just going to say this: Can I bet them all individually and then parlay it?
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't think you need to parlay the last one to it. I think it's giving you the boost you think it is.
It's not going to add much.
Okay. I see. Sorry, I don't have this in front of me. I don't
have the computer. I do have a computer in front of me. I'm not running the numbers. Just logically, if you continue to correlate props on the same game parlay together, it's going to give you a worse and worse payout the more you add on. I just don't think it would be worth the risk. And there is the fun fact that Jaleel McLaughlin's like not that good either. That he had one game where he had what? Where is it here? He had, last week against Kansas City, he had 16 carries for 39 yards.
That's fine. Still goes over 31.5. Just like my hamburger, run him through the garden fucking thrice, not even twice. We're doing it all. And I'll tell you, Pat, I've been on this Mims shit with Camera 2. Drew, we've been on this Mims train.
This
for
is
a
over.
while.
No, the Mims train is over. Now that everyone,
it was a great train.
No. Yeah, it was a great train. I agree with you. It won me a ton of money on DraftKings 2 weeks ago. It's fantastic. But now that everyone is on the Mims train, time to jump off.
You're right. Well, now we're on the McLaughlin train because everyone thinks like, ooh, like no one knows about McLaughlin. That's the thing. We're shifting our gears. We have a new train, right? We've gone from GO train to Via. In the States, Amtrak. We're taking a new train. Yeah, exactly. You got her. What a shitty ride. But I'll tell you, dude, I'm taking the GO train. Like, what kind of world are we living in? We're in Toronto. These things run like the Flintstones trains. Like you go to Europe. It's like, I feel like I'm going to like fucking go through the ground sometimes. Fix your fucking trains. And if it's not faster to take a car, like why are you taking a train? McLaughlin, let's go. Boom.
So I played, Rob. I just did this while we were talking. I played an 8-leg underdog parlay or underdog entry. Sorry. Yeah, I know that you're plenty familiar. Congratulations on your underdog sponsorship, by the way.
Thank you very much. It's a great brand. Honestly, great product. I'm not going to give out my code, but use code Mayo. Sign up for Underdog. I'm a big fan of good products. I used to be a product manager at the score. It is a very, very fun product.
Underdog hasn't called me. I'm not. I guess my run the Sims.
But you'd be the perfect guy. Yet. All you do is bet underdogs anyways. How can you not get partnered with Underdog?
I got another couple sponsorships up my sleeve, but usually food brands for AM radio hits that I do. But anyway, I digress. Go McLaughlin. Go Underdog.
So here are the ones that I played on this 8-legger. I want to parse this down and maybe try to get like a 3-legger because people with code Mayo get that deposit bonus and the Herbert free pick. But Herbert's on this one. I had Josh Allen higher than 39.5 rushing yards. That's lower than Sportsbook market. I like that one.
Yes. I mean, I'm looking at my favorite plays for this week, and rest of the market is like 42.5. So you're getting 3 yards of value at pretty much the same price. I like that Allen over as well.
Sorry, can you repeat the Allen over at Underdog, please?
Yes, the Josh Allen higher on his rushing yards is 39.5.
So his regular prop is 39.5?
No, his regular prop is 42.5.
Yeah, if you were to go bet it elsewhere.
That's a great price. 39.5, you can get that on one run. I love that play.
One run's like, I think you underestimate how long these quarterbacks are running.
40-yard run for a quarterback is
impressive. You've seen him busted though. When Allen's in the middle of the field, he's like a fucking gazelle, just like Lamar Jackson, but he's more of a thoroughbred. Like he's a Kentucky Derby horse, not a quarter horse. He's a monster.
Yeah, so like the safety's going to actually get scared when Allen is running in the open field.
Yes. Yeah. You think you're a safety? You see Josh Allen coming down in the cold? Like that guy is fucking thundering down the stretch. And down the stretch, Allen. Like this guy's like, please don't fucking hit me. Allen, just get out of my fucking way. Like guys, they don't want to deal with him. He's huge.
The only other look that I would look for Josh Allen would be rushing attempts, which would be, where is he at right now for attempts? I believe it's 9.5 because they've started to do that tush push. I mean, it's not really even tush push. He just kind of goes, but he's getting like 3 of those a game now just to add on to what he's doing. Yeah, it's 6.5 rushing attempts for Allen. It is 0.92, but that seems really low too.
Game state could play a factor there.
It could, but I think the colder it gets, the more he runs, honestly.
Also, the kneels will count as rush attempts.
Agreed. I think there are fewer. People always talk about this. Like, it fucks you from time to time when it comes to the kneel downs. Yeah. They don't happen as often as people think.
No, it's very rare. It's the ones where they kneel down for a lot of yardage that really kill you. Yeah. Because, Anyways.
Hey, Pat, was McLaughlin 1.5 receptions or 1?
1.5.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So
just writing down all my other stuff.
I want to run through this entire 8 one here so we can figure out like the 3 best ones of the ones and play that one, okay? So we got Allen higher than 39.5 rushing yards. We like that one. Jaleel McLaughlin higher than 1.5 receptions. We can go with that.
Yes.
I'm good with that.
CJ Stroud higher than 13.5 rushing yards.
I'm there.
We seem iffy on
the
that.
Other two better.
Okay. This is exactly what I want to hear. Matt Stafford higher than 0.5 rushing yards.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay, might save that one for a Monday play and maybe not tie it to the one we're making right now. Baker Mayfield.
Or put it in, Pat. Sorry, but this is important. Or put it in hedge, right? If it's the last part of your parlay.
No. Don't
do that. Don't do that.
Why?
Because you're losing vig. You're losing vig if you do that.
Don't ever put something in a parlay with the intention to hedge it. You're better off just not putting it in the parlay.
Correct.
Fair enough.
Because you're losing
money. If it's going to be the last
you're paying vig on it.
You have to pay vig again.
You're paying vig on it the first time, then you're paying vig on it.
I get it. You guys know me. I just want to have a good time. But I get what you're saying.
So it's true. So Baker, 17.5 rushing yards. That one's probably pretty iffy, right?
I don't know, man. That guy's an animal. Like he could just take off every time if he's getting in one drive in the zone.
Yeah, but I mean, for the favorite ones that we go through. Like that, you didn't respond right away. That's what I'm looking for. I'm trying to get
What was his? Okay.
Knicks, I think I like.
Yeah, Knicks I like too.
Knicks. Okay, we'll do Knicks higher than 5.5 rushing attempts. I had Lamar higher than 48.5 because he's just going to run like 85 times in this game, especially without Zay Flowers. And then Herbert higher than 18.5. So it sounds like we like Knicks, McLaughlin, and Allen the best. Do we have one more or anything that you've seen so far, Rob, that we could throw onto this to get the then people can add the Herbert onto it to make it 20-1. We can play a 10-1, give that out, and they can add Herbert with code Mayo and make it a 20-1.
I do like something, but I don't think people are going to like it.
No, we'll say it.
Is it?
I like Mike Evans not to score a touchdown, under half touchdowns at Underdog.
Wow. Interesting.
Marshawn Lattimore's back for Washington. They have the very storied history of going up against one another. So this is very narrative based, but Marshawn Lattimore will kill Mike Evans on the field before he tries to let him catch a touchdown. Like he will be all over him whenever he gets beat in those types of situations.
Know what I noticed too? McMillan's being a lot more a part of the Tampa Bay offensive attack. See, Rob, see?
And on top of that, Washington's run D is so bad that I do think Tampa in the red zone will try to run the ball pretty heavily.
Well, that's why Bucky Irving's like minus 160 to score a fucking touchdown. They're not stupid.
Exactly. But it's scary. It's a high total game. I do like Tampa's offensive matchup, but I think that under a half touchdown for Mike Evans is decent. Another one that I would be consider playing would be Jordan Love under completions, just because if he's going to go in with a pre-existing arm injury and without Christian Watson, I do think that they're also going to get really run heavy in that game. We'll agree. Matt LaFleur's been known to do that, come out and run the ball like 10 times in a row. So those are the two that stood out to me.
Oh, that one's really interesting. Jordan Love, because you can even separate this into first half and second half as well. That I don't know if they have first quarter rushing yards. Okay, that's interesting. First half passing touchdowns, where we have first half passing yards for Jordan Love, higher, lower than 107.5. That feels like a lower anyway.
It does. That does. Yeah, I don't know. I now when we're getting into breaking it down by quarter and by half and stuff like that, then we're into like territory that I'm not ready for.
I'm with you, Pizzola. I'm getting a headache. Let's keep it simple here. Like fuck, enough. But I like what we've done so far with our other picks.
So do I. They've taken the Josh Allen 39.5 off the board now that I played that eight play entry.
Too much liability on your picks, man.
Yeah, well, they know. I mean, they have the tracking link, so they know if I've played it already in the week. I think that they know that I'm probably giving it out on the show as well.
Right.
So I will just flip that to the 6.5 for the purposes of this show. It'll come back at 41.5 in like 20 minutes or something like that. But I will take the. Where is it here? 6.5 first quarter rushing yards. Now we're dancing. I've been nailing that with Lamar. That's one with Lamar that hits really often. He's like 7.5 rushing yards in the first quarter.
Yeah, they do some design runs for him in the early going. Yeah, I'm looking through the board here. There's like, oh my God, there's so many.
I know enough. Like that's the problem. Now sometimes at the grocery store you want choice, but there's too much choice. I need to relax. The menu's too big. I'm done. We're done.
Let's see here.
Okay.
Lamar rushing attempts is only 8.5. Unless they really get up. Even if they get up by a bunch, I feel like he gets there. I mean, obviously, anyone gets hurt, all the unders hit. We are allowed to play unders on this stuff.
It's true. I'm mostly looking for unders, but naturally, sometimes your brain gravitates towards the overs. Like I just see Jalen McMillan here, 51.5. And
feels like stealing. He's been great.
Yeah, he's been so good.
And he went to the University of Washington. My kind of guy.
Is that making a big impact for you?
Yes, it is.
Now,
yes, it is.
Give us the
Huskies guy.
Give us the scouting report on why Huskies thrive so much in the NFL.
Actually, they don't. If you draft a Husky quarterback, you're fucking done. Penix went to Washington. He's going to be okay. But old Washington quarterbacks, the best one was smooth lefty Mark Brunell.
Yeah, Brunell had a very
underrated career. Underrated.
Very long. Yeah, of course.
Come on, Mark Brunell was good. But Jake Locker, train wreck.
Wasn't clock killing Corey Dillon Washington Husky?
Yep. Yes, he was. See, Rob, you get the program. Yep.
Chris Chandler.
The Chandelier. That guy was the opposite. He took so many fucking hits, that guy. Like, I thought he was going to die when he was out there. I felt so bad for Chandler. He used to get murdered. Like, Baker Mayfield's the same way. That guy's tough as fuck. He should be like an MMA fighter, that guy. He's like Clay Guida. He just keeps on fucking ticking and taking hits.
So I'm gonna build another Underdog entry on the Friday live show starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Friday. But the official one we're throwing out for this one, it pays 9.9 something X. So I had to go 225 to win $2,000 on it. Jaleel McLaughlin higher, 1.5 receptions. Bo Nix higher, 5.5 rushing attempts. Josh Allen higher, 6.5 rushing attempts. Jalen McFucking-Millen higher than 51.5 receiving yards. You put down 225, you seem to get 2,081 back. But if you use code Mayo, you can throw Justin Herbert's free pick onto that if you are new and boost that up to probably 19.5 to 1. And you get a free leg of that anyway. So code Mayo is where you want to be right now on Underdog for the first time. Then it'll get you all that bonus cash as well, up to $1,000, where you can do best ball drafts for NFL and PGA both coming up and sustain you in the ecosystem all the way through January. Then you can start jumping on what NBA have you played? Where do you find the best props are at, Rob, in terms of like being able to beat the market? Is it NBA?
Oh yeah. NBA is a money printer.
What about NHL shot props? Some of them are way off because they don't give a fuck about the league. Don't you find sometimes they're pretty bad?
I honestly think NHL and MLB are the worst for betting props because it's pretty easy to set the numbers for a lot of those. But like NBA, when one player is out, it completely changes the rotations for the team. You get so many different prices in market. So to me, I think NBA props are the easiest to beat.
There is one more.
Got to get on them early though.
No, you would have to get on. You would have to get
or
on
just wait for injuries.
Yeah, you have to. You have to be there and waiting to play it.
Yeah. If you have some expertise and know like, okay, if this guy is out tonight, then this other player is going to get 8 more minutes, and how the rotations will work and stuff like that, then you can. Like I've seen people just absolutely printing when it comes to NBA props.
There are two. They're in the specials market this week. There are 2 that I really like for most rushing yards. I think I was going to play Bucky Irving plus 525 at Coolbet and Joe Mixon 12 to 1 for most rushing yards this weekend.
You know what? I don't mind that.
I like Irving.
I like Irving too, but like if Houston wins, Mixon's going to have like 200 yards rushing. That's how they're going to win.
Irving. I love Bucky Irving. He's like one of my favorite running backs, so dynamic. But I don't like that bet with Irving because they still have – I know Rachaad White's gotten less carries down the stretch, but they still mix him in. They still mix Sean Tucker in a lot. Like they have – he doesn't, to me, get the usage.
I mean, he's averaging like 19 carries a game over the final 5 games. That's a lot of usage.
It is.
It's true.
Like
I didn't actually realize that.
Yeah, they're just they're just running more right now. So those are the 2 that I'm going to play. Bucky Irving, 5 plus 525 to have the most rushing yards this weekend, and he's going up against probably the worst run defense in the playoffs too, which is helpful. And then Mixon. Yep. Everyone is on the Chargers. I haven't seen one Texans bet coming like from anyone I've talked to that they're super live in this game, and I think that we know that.
Of course,
like you could play if I was betting the Chargers, I think Cuss actually made this point. I play Chargers like alt lines if I was really going to bet the Chargers, be like Chargers by 13.5 or something, or Texans money line parlay with like Joe Mixon or something like that, because that's how they win this game. Like, how are they going to win the game if Mixon's not going off?
It would just be the Chargers have like a classic Charger performance. I mean, the thing with LA is they've looked really good coming down the stretch here, but they played the Patriots and the Raiders the last 2 weeks. They sucked in the first half against Denver. They came on in the second half against Denver. I don't know. That's a tough game. I think the Chargers are definitely better than Houston, but are they like 4 points better on a neutral field? Well, they haven't been priced that way pretty much at all this year. So there's a decent case to be made for Houston, but Houston has shifted to like a pass first early team rather than a run first early team. It's really hard to make of what they're going to do on a weekly basis, basically.
Yeah, I just think for the bet 12 to 1, you get one of the best running backs in the playoffs and a team that's probably going to, at least from the onset, like how I envision this game going, especially at home, like they're just not going to want to fall behind. So he's going to have ample attempts in order to, the attempts is not the problem that I'm worried about. It's the actual getting the yardage. Mixon's been really good this year when he's healthy.
Oh, 100%. He's had some huge games, especially early on in the year. So Chargers can struggle to stop the run, although I think Denzel Perryman might come back this week from his groin injury, which would help their run defense. But if he's still missing, there's huge opportunity there because they can't stop the run without him.
All right, that will do it on the Best Bet Show. We're still going to be here every single Thursday for you during the NFL playoffs. Maybe we'll do something fun during the bye week and try to spice it up a little bit. So please leave a rating and review on the podcast. Smash like and sub to Mayo Media Network. Cam, what you got going on this week?
A lot. I've got college playoffs tonight and tomorrow. We're on the air, ready to go. Notre Dame, Penn State, and then Texas and Ohio State. A lot of fun. Other than that, just a lot of gambling. So, yeah, actually, I don't have a lot. Just a lot of work and a lot of gambling. So there's nothing else too exciting. I was trying to think of something else I was going to do. No, that's about it.
Rob, when are you doing the watch along this weekend, or are you?
I am Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night. So 3 straight nights, all the night games. So Steelers, Ravens will be the first one, Commanders, Bucks, and then Vikings, Rams. That's over on Forward Progress on YouTube. And I'm just going to watch the games in real time and live bet them in real time as well. So you're welcome to join me for that.
And if you're missing Sunday Night Live on the Pat Mayo Experience for until next season, because it's over, we had the season finale last Sunday, go over to the Forward Progress YouTube channel to watch along with Rob and his guests because, hey, you need something to do during that time. You can check out Pizzola, and it's actually really fun to watch. It's so much better, Rob, to listen to the announcers. Honestly, it's great.
I agree. I mean, the commentary for the games has gotten pretty stale nowadays. And listen, you get to see a lot of Jeff Feinberg in the third quarters, and around that time, it's usually like 10 p.m. at night. The kids are in bed. He's pretty sauced.
Crown
and it's
Royal, Doobies, and Dr. Pepper time, baby. How about that for a same-game parlay? That's a fucking lock. No key required. Honest to God, that's just.
You know
what?
He's on another planet sometimes.
Dude, he really is. Yeah, kind of like me, Pat. When I show up drunk for your show, like Feinberg, he hits orbit too, right, Rob? Heavy.
Feinberg over Dr. Pepper's. Feinberg over vape pen hits, and then you can use code Mayo at Underdog and throw the Herbert free pick on there. You got a 6-1 on your hands.
Yeah. You know he's really feeling himself when he wears that McDonald's hat too. I don't know if you've seen that one, Pat. If he's broke that out on the show,
it's got a McDonald's hat. Like what the fuck?
Yeah,
what?
He wears a McDonald's
hat.
Yes.
Is he getting paid? Like,
it's some sort of NASCAR hat. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's the golden arches on the front. And he just when he shows up with that hat on, you know it's been a night for him already.
That's fucking. Oh yeah, that's good. That's a bag of tricks night. He's in the tickle trunk. Yeah, tickle. Yeah, he's ready to go.
Cam, as we were doing this show, I sent you the money for Cust and I.
Oh, I just on my phone, I was dealing with another show saying, hey, I want to have a nap, but I might not wake up. Thank you. Really appreciate it. I love getting texts from you because they're usually money coming in my pocket instead of you're working this shift for no overtime. Thank you. Appreciate it.
There we are. You can follow me at the PME. I'm running full steam here with full-time golf and full-time football right now. So sub to the newsletter, sub to the channel, and do all that fun stuff. But a reminder to use code Mayo. If I didn't make that clear enough, use code Mayo at Underdog right now. All right? I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience.
Names like Atlanta Albatross.
I
came up with that.
I made the point that Liv has all the names that the TGL should have.
Yeah, actually, and Liv's names are stupid. Like some of them are really dumb. Like you can come up with good, like Atlanta Albatross writes itself AA. You know what I mean? Like
alliteration.
Anyway, yeah, alliteration. Like if I can figure it out, you guys can figure it out. And I agree with Pat. No fucking intermission with SVP. I can watch fucking ESPN. Like there's a couple things that they need to work on, but it was fucking great. They did a great job.
Yeah.
Very surprised.
The Mage Sticks. Terrible.
The Majestics.
Oh, there we go.
The Mage Sticks.
High Flyers with a Y.
Say too much.
I only know
too much J.R.R. Tolkien in Pizzola's life, with fucking warlocks and shit.
Big time.
Cucks.
Well, still, it's terrible.
Warlocks.
Balls. I'm just looking at all these now. I've only known Crushers and Fireballs because I've seen. I watched Bryson's channel, and that's about it.
All right. Are we recording? All right, so we can get this on the go.
Experience.